Okay, so here we are for section 6.2, unit rates. We talked about in class today what a rate is. It's a ratio of two quantities, and it has different kinds of units. So yesterday a ratio was comparison between like units for us. Now a rate, comparison between different types of units. So their example here is 60 characters in 30 seconds. So I'm guessing it's typing or something like that. So they typed 60 characters in 30 seconds, different kinds of units. When we simplify that, we get what's called the unit rate. And it has a denominator of 1. The unit rate does specifically. The point is to compare it to a unit of 1. So and rate means unit. So or 1 means just simply a unit. So to write a rate as a unit rate, divide the numerator and the denominator by the rate of the denominator. So basically divide them both by, in this case, 30. So 60 divided by 30 is 2. 30 divided by 30 is 1. Now we're seeing 2 characters per second. So this is example 1A from the textbook. They want you to create a unit rate if something costs $18.50 for 5 pounds. So what we're going to have to do is look at this as dollars per pound. Okay, they've given us the first one, the second one. So this is 18.50 over 5. See if I can get my pen to write a little bit better. So 18.50 for 5 pounds. So darken up the exposure a bit there too. There we go. That looks a little better. So I'm just going to basically do dollars per pounds. So divide 18.50 by 5. 5 goes in 18 3 times for 15. Put our decimal point in there. It goes into 35 7 times, and then it is dollars. So we do need to go to the 0. So it's $3.70 per pound. That's the unit rate. So the next problem here is a problem about converting, using unit rate to find a value, a bigger value. So we've got here, a bakery can make 195 donuts in 3 hours. At this rate, how many donuts can the bakery make in 8 hours? So, our first job is to turn this into a unit rate, to take the 195 donuts in 3 hours and figure out that amount. So 195 donuts in 3 hours. Okay. So 195 divided by 3. 3 goes into 19 6 times for 18. Subtract that, we get 15. It goes into that 5 times. So it's 65 donuts. How do they spell it? D-O-U-G-H. Yes. In 1 hour. Our question is, how many can we make in 8 hours? So now we know what it is in 1 hour. Multiplied by 8 hours. And what ends up happening is our units cancel. So I really just have to do is 65 times 8. So 0, 4, 48, 52. So 520 donuts. So make 520 donuts in 8 hours. Now the last example is number 20 from the homework. And I chose this one because it's a similar style problem as that last one, but it's also a little bit harder of a problem to do because of the fractions. So it says a recipe that makes 2 dozen cookies calls for 3/4 cups of sugar. How much sugar is then needed for 2.5 dozen cookies? So my unit's going to be, and this seems weird, but I'm going to do it as cups of sugar per dozen. So it's 3/4 over 2 dozen. 2 dozen. What that means is I got to take 3/4 and divide it by 2, which is 3/4 times 1/2, because dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by 1 over 2. Now that's 3/8 cups per 1 dozen. Now the question is, how much is this for 4.5 dozen. Well, I'll multiply by 4.5 dozen then, canceling off the units, and that'll just give me cups. So what I'm really doing for this problem is 3/8 times 4.5. Back in our fraction chapter, we had to multiply this by making it an improper fraction. That ends up giving us 27 over 16. 27 over 16 is 1 and 11/16 cups. So for us to make 4.5 dozen cookies, we'd have to have 1 and 11/16 cups of sugar. And that's it for the kind of review for section 6.2.